This is a foam spider. Foam top, some rubber legs. Let's tie this one. Start by getting your hook in the jaws of the vise. Lock that in. We're going to be using red thread today. I'm going to start this towards the back of the fly, or back of the hook here. Get that locked down the hook, cut off that excess. Now we're going to take the black foam. I like to take that and put a little point on the front just to minimize how much I need to tie down at the start of this. Do that little point. I'm going to wrap this, starting it not quite at the back, but close to the back. With this foam, you got to kind of loose wrap it first. Then you can kind of compress it down and get a better wrap on it at that point. With that in place, we're going to move over and get some of the black dubbing. Now this is a big clump, so we're just going to take out a little bit of this. We don't need a lot. We're just building one segment of this body. Get some thread off the bobbin. And remember, if you lick your fingers a little, that wetness will help this roll onto this thread a lot easier than if it's dry. So get that on there, and we're going to get this nice and tight. I probably have double what I really need for this section. Slide it up to the top of the thread if possible here. And then we're going to wrap that first segment. We're just looking to cover up that red thread and give it a little underbody here. That should be enough there. So I'm going to pull off some of that excess. Tighten up the leftover on that thread. Wrap or two. I'm going to bring this back over and make that first segment in the back here. A couple of loose wraps and slowly getting tighter, and then I can tighten down a little bit more. Okay, with that first segment in place, now we're going to move towards the legs. Now what you do is, if you got a whole clump like this, you just want to pull out two legs. So here's two legs. They're connected. Probably hard to see on the camera. I like to keep them connected as much as I can, just to help while you're building this. You've got one less thing sticking out because you've got it all connected. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to try to lay this on the side of the fly, and this whole thing is going to be the legs for the whole fly, so it is a longer piece. But I'm just going to take enough here for the back section, put on the side of the fly, a loose wrap first, and I can kind of reset. Oh, looks like it fell off there. A loose wrap here first, then I can kind of set those legs where I need it to be, and then do another wrap. Then I'm going to take these rubber legs, and I'm going to measure them out to the front. I'm going to loop them back around and create the other side of the fly, the legs on the other side. And a couple of loose wraps here too, just to get them in place first. So they're sitting on the side of the fly. Once I've got them where I want them, I'm going to start tightening that down on the thread. Bunch of wraps to give that red section there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this back, all of that, even the loop of legs, the foam, and now that allows me to work on the next segment here. A couple of wraps up front. Now, the same as the back, what we're going to do is we're going to take our dubbing again and just pinch off a small amount. I'm going to try to get a little less than last time just to make sure I don't have the excess. Pull out that thread, fingers wet again, and just roll that through my fingers until I get a nice tight dubbing rope here. Pull all that material back so I can see the bare hook again. I'm going to start wrapping that up here. Pull off some of the excess. In this case, we've got all this material here. We've got the legs, we've got the rubber. So we're going to carefully come in here, find where we're going to make that next wrap, Pull everything together. And nice loose wrap here again. Then we can kind of pinch down on it once we have the loose wrap in place. Now I'm just going to tighten those up. Build up that thread so you can see that red, a little accent color. Might get their attention a little bit more. Now, part of the reason I like to keep those legs all tied and have that loop here is so at the end of the fly, it's just one piece of material instead of sticking wide out the side here. It's kind of contained all in itself. Now we can't whip finish this one too well. You could if you pulled this back, if you left enough room by the head of the hook, pulled everything back. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to do some half hitches again. So you grab the thread, pull out some extra thread here, grab it in your fingers, loop it over, come in and miss all that material. And then if you've got bodkin, you can use that to help control that line as it goes in. So do that a couple of times. Wrap that around, switch it to the bodkin, draw that back into the fly. This is just locking that thread in so when you cut it off it doesn't fly away. Now come in, cut the excess thread, cut the head of the foam, and now with that loop I just like to go to the middle and snip that off. Now at this point what you can do is you can see how those legs, how long they are. On the original one that we looked at first that was tied, you can kind of get an idea here how long those are. Kind of match it up. Obviously if you keep them long you can cut them later. So I'll just come in here and cut these a little bit shorter. Now remember the back ones, we measured those a little bit more when we tied them in. The front ones were just the excess of the loop. Now because I left those legs together, it was easier to manage a little bit, but now at this point what I want to do is just come in here and peel those apart. Sometimes you can get them just real easy with your fingers. If you can't, you can take one of these and just find that center and poke that and then spread those apart. Get all these legs separated so when they're sitting on the surface it's a really good spider looking leg system there. And there it is, the foam spider.